What is up, River family? It is Wednesday, which means it's our Wednesday Bible study. Here's why we do this. We want to grow together right where we are. So we hope that this encourages you. We hope it inspires you. So let's dive into His Word.
All right. Good morning, church and River family. It's so good to have you guys with us. It's Wednesday, so that means
Bible study.
Yay!
Bible study. Our goal this morning is to grow together in the Word, right where we're at.
Yar.
I think that's how Matt says it.
Yeah.
We got our head of the ministry of the MOP with us this morning. Say hello, Brittany.
Hello.
And then we got our youth pastor,
What's up, guys?
Naomi Hackett, the one and only.
And then our worship pastor,
Worship pastor,
Brandon
Brittany.
Montgomery.
He just does the music.
Yes, just the music guy. Now we're glad you guys are joining us. Today we'll be in the book of Mark, chapter 14. We'll be going over verses 22 through 26. So if you have your Bibles, go ahead and get that out. I'll give you just a few seconds there. We're going to be talking about communion. And it says this, 22, and as they were eating, he, Jesus, took bread, and after blessing it, broke it, and gave it to them, and said, "Take, this is my body." And he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. And he said to them, "This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many. Truly I say to you, I will not drink again of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it in the new kingdom of God." And then they had sung a hymn, and they went out to the Mount of Olives. All right, so what pops out to you guys the most, or first and foremost there after reading that?
Man, communion. So, it's talking about, us, being a part of the broken bread and the blood that's poured out for many.
Yes.
I think communion is, the ultimate form of worship because, you're still remembering the ultimate sacrifice.
That's good.
That's a big deal. It's it's the whole part of Christianity.
Yeah.
And so, what he's doing, it's symbolic. Obviously, we're not literally eating his blood. Or, you know what I'm saying? But...
Yeah. This is not a cult.
Yeah, but... so I just think it's really cool and it's really powerful. It's pretty straightforward. Just breaking... It's to always remember. So if you're a Christian for 1 year, if you're a Christian for 20 years, if you're a Christian for 1,000 years, you always remember.
Yes.
And you always, honor that and cherish that. And
that's what he did. They're meeting up for dinner. This is during the Passover. And if you go back, the original Passover was whenever they put the blood of the lamb over the doorposts so that the angel of death wouldn't take their firstborn. Yeah. And so this is Jesus introducing the new covenant. And he says, this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many. So he's saying we don't have to do that anymore. Right. We don't have to do that anymore. It's not about what you do. It's about your faith. Mm-hmm. It's about what you believe. And now he's the only way to the Father.
Yeah.
Brittany, what are you thinking?
I can't help but wonder, if I were a disciple sitting at that table and he says, "Okay, take this blood, and do the communion thing," and I can't help but think that they're all like, "Okay, bro, okay, oh, yeah. I know you've said this, but is it really going to happen?" and things like that. Yeah. And then I can't help but think, after he goes to the cross and after his body's broken and after his blood is spilled out, that the disciples are like, "Oh man, he really meant what he said," you know. So that's kind of where I went with it. All these guys sitting at the table being like, "Okay."
I bet they had revelations their whole life.
Right.
Just out of nowhere, they'd be like, "That's what he was talking about."
For real, probably.
But how many?
That's so cool.
But how many of us do that?
We've
read this in the Bible, but man, that's really what he meant. Yes. That's really what he said. And then when something good happens, you're like, "Oh, okay, now I get it now." You know what I mean?
So good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's why they call it the living word.
Yeah.
That's why God calls it living word. It is. It's crazy how you'll read something or you'll be studying something and then it just shows up in your life.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
Oh, wow. I literally read about that this morning or, last week or whatever. And so.
Okay, just to touch back on something that you said, for the viewers. Okay, I love the movie Prince of Egypt growing up, and so that's like immediately where my mind goes to when you talked about the Passover. Because I mean, if you haven't seen it, I think it's on Netflix or something, or maybe like Peacock. I'm not sure. It was on Netflix at one point, but it's the Prince of Egypt, and it's like this animated like a musical, like classic music. It was really so good, but it shows like the whole story of Moses and all the plagues and everything, and they show you like how like the Israelites are using the lamb's blood to put it on the door. And so it's like, I don't know, it's a good visual. It helps you understand. Or like remember, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it is so powerful to think like we don't have to do all the sacrifices and everything like that. It really just comes down to like faith.
Yes.
And like how powerful his blood is and how it speaks a much better word than.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you go to church here with us at the River, we do communion the first Sunday of every month.
So this Sunday.
So this coming Sunday we'll be having communion, but that's my deal. Is Jesus here at the very end, 25. He says, "Truly I say to you, I will not drink again of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it in the new kingdom." So that just tells me that fellowship is going to happen again with Jesus.
Yeah,
fellowship is going to happen again with Jesus. And then 26 says, when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. So Jesus ends the dinner with a praise and a promise.
For sure.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's our promise, is that we will have communion with him again in heaven. And so that's my encouragement to you guys this morning, is just as you take communion, each and every time he says to do it in remembrance.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to remember, because that's Jesus introducing the new covenant, and that's what all of our faith is based off of.
For sure.
So it's kind of like going back to your basics, going back to your roots, remembering why we do what we do.
Right.
And so you're supposed to be able to draw encouragement from that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any final thoughts?
I think that you should probably add that, they did sing a hymn, so hymns are biblical, and you can sing them in church
Matt,
all the time. Matt. I just had to throw that in.
That's funny.
But no, I think you're right. I think he tells us, okay, this is I'm going to do it, so I'm leading the way for you, so that you can do it whenever it's time. So I think it's powerful words for sure.
I think communion is like, I think it's kind of but not appreciated as much as it should be.
Right.
I really think I know like some like the different I don't know denominations. Thank you. The different denominations, they treat communion differently, and some but I think it's just the heart of it is like remembering Christ's sacrifice. So I mean, if it's your cereal milk, God's Jesus' body broken for me, like it's just the point, like remember, because just remember.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think people are so like communion, whatever. It's just like we just get up there, we eat a chip, we like pray awkwardly. It's whatever. It's what we do, but it's not that. It's so much more.
Well, I heard a preacher say it's as personal as you make it.
Yeah, sure. That's true. That's true.
And that kind of hit me. I was like, okay, yeah, because I mean, your faith is no one's responsibility except your own.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So
I think
each other out on that, but we can. But as far as communion goes, I just dial into it.
Yeah, it's good.
Think about it.
It's refreshing. It's refreshing when you actually sit down. Remember, it takes like a minute.
And I think it was really cool, like for me as a parent, to teach Braxton, this is what it's about. It's not like drinking the juice and eating the cracker, or swallowing the cracker whole, or whatever the situation may be. But I think that it makes it real, especially for the young ones. Like, okay, this is why we do what we do. So I think it's an important teaching moment for our kids too.
That's cool.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post in the chat. Otherwise, our goal is to grow right where we are, and so we hope you got something out of today's Bible study that you can carry with you guys. Hope to see you guys on Sunday.
Bye.
Well, hey, that is our Wednesday Bible study. We just want to thank you so much again for joining us. And if you want to join us every week, if you'll click subscribe, this podcast will pop up right there for you. Again, we want to do this to grow together right where we are.